So I'm sure many of you have heard that in order to get a college, you need to have good grades, you need to be a well-rounded student, and there's just a lot of things that you have to do out there. Well, they're not wrong. When you apply to college, they're actually looking for someone who is able to keep their grades up, someone who took the SAT score and did above average on the SATs, on their SAT or ACT, and I'll explain what those are later on. And someone who was able to put more on their resume than other students. For example, you could be in band, you could be in a sport, or you could be in any clubs such as LULAC, what else, HOSA, or NHS. So I'm gonna narrow down what I mean by being being a well-rounded student. For example, it's the amount of classes not the amount of classes, the classes you're taking and what those classes require you. So some very good classes that you can take are starting 9th grade level AP classes. For example, in my school, they offered AP human geography. So that class was the first AP class that many students take. They also offer European history. Figuring out what AP classes your school offers will help you get ahead in school if you're able to pass those AP tests. Or you could also look into dual credit, which is when a community college near you offers a class for high school students, and it's free of cost because it's already going into your curriculum, and you can get those credits for when you go to college. So a way that you can figure out what classes are offered and what helps you out a lot is you can go to your counselor at the school and just ask them questions. They're there to help you, and they're going to be your biggest help when applying to college. They can even write you a letter of recommendation when needed, because some colleges do ask you for a letter of recommendation, and also scholarships ask you for that. So just having good grades and depending on the classes you're taking, it will really help you out when you're applying for college or scholarships. And then I was also talking about extracurricular activities. When you're going into extracurriculars, you have to be very well with your time management in order to not let your classes slide. You can go from a sport to a music program to any a job, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, something that will look good, that says that you put yourself out there. Something that will tell the college that, like, hey, I'm different from everybody else. For example, if you did football for all 4 years through college, it looks really well because it means that you're dedicated to something. The same goes for if you play an instrument, let's say maybe you started in kindergarten. If you stick through it all the way through high school and plan on continuing it just means that you're dedicated to something, and they want to have dedicated students. Especially if your school offers like certain programs, like for example in my school, they offer the Health and Science Academy. So if you're wanting to go into medicine, if you stick to that program, they'll be like, hey, the student's going to go through this program and they'll for sure make it because they did it through high school. So they're looking for someone who is willing to dedicate their time into something and still keep their grades up. So that's always something really good that you can do. Another thing is AP classes or your SAT scores, how I mentioned earlier. SAT is a standardized test that is given by the SAT or College Board, and the College Board also makes the AP test. But College Board, they can help you out a lot. If you look on their websites, they have a lot of options for you in which you can search on, and it's really helpful. It helped me out a lot because they can also give you waivers and vouchers for the schools that you want to apply to if you think that you can afford the application, because an application does cost money. So the SAT is a standardized test in which they test your skills in writing, reading, and math. And there's actually a lot of helps. There's books out there that are dedicated to helping you score a higher score, and there's KD or just the Princeton Review. The SAT is also another standardized test that is given by a different company, but colleges will also look at that. So those are just a few things that you can help by being a well-rounded student, and it looks really good when you can have a job or any extracurricular with good grades and you have high SAT or ACT scores. These are just a couple of things that colleges are looking for in their application process. So it's just a good idea to keep those things in mind when you're going through high school or starting off something new in elementary or middle school. So just stick to them and they'll turn out great.